Hello viewers, this is Major General Neelendra Kumar for the playlist Inse Miliye, here in conversation with Justice BR Khan. जज साहब, सबसे पहले मेरा सवाल आपसे ये होगा कि आपके नाम के साथ कुछ लोग बादशाह खान भी लिखा है, वो इंटरनेट पर भी है, और तो क्या ये आप खुलासा करना चाहेंगे कि इसके पीछे क्या रहस्य है?
जनरल साहब, सच मानिए मुझे खुद से भी ये पता नहीं कि मेरा ये नाम कहाँ रखा गया, लेकिन लीगल फ्रेटर्निटी में मैं इस नाम से जाना चाहता हूँ।
मशहूर इसी से हैं आप?
जी जी। और जी। मैंने इसकी थोड़ी बहुत इंक्वायरी भी की
जी,
एंड आई फाउंड व्हाट आई वाज टोल्ड। आई डोंट नो वेदर इट वाज गिवन टू मी इन ए गुड सेंस और ए बैड सेंस, बट बादशाह कांट बी इन ए बैड सेंस, आई वुड assume that. My style of judicial functioning was different.
And your vision and perhaps nature was also that you did not bother for trivial things.
I don't know, without boasting. I was justice oriented. I could feel the pain of the agreed party who would be before me, and this lawyer would not. And I would make the lawyer to feel the pain.
वो इंसाफ करने की जरूरत,
irrespective of letter of law. I was not into technicalities at all. In fact, my favorite observation used to be to hell with your law. I don't care about it. It's working in justice. I will not go by that law. I will give you one very interesting example of this.
जरूर.
You will remember it was in 1990 somewhere, I think early 1990, when militancy started in Kashmir.
Ji.
And if you remember on the road,
on the Rubia Saeed's kidnapping.
No, before that.
Before that.
When it started.
Ji.
On the road,
Ji.
one Air Force squadron leader was killed. And it so happened it was hardly some 500 meters from my house.
Ji.
On the bypass road.
Ji.
So it was early in the morning, and we heard certain sounds of gunfire. And people woke up here and there and found that some firing was going on the bypass road.
Okay.
So this was visible from my bedroom also.
Okay.
So I got up from my bed and looked through the window and found one lady was crying, "Bachao, bachao, bachao, bachao." So who could bachao her? In fact, we had first time heard these gunshots, because Kashmiris were not used to any gunshots at all. So we tried to hide somewhere instead of conducting any rescue. So forgot about that incident. And I became a judge after some time. I was sitting in the court after 3-4 years. A case came to me.
Ji.
Once I was trying to look into that file, one lady in the back row of my court stood up crying.
Ji.
Judge Sahab, mere bache. It was very emotional. I went through this file, and I find it is the same lady crying. Who was crying there?
Air Force.
On the road, yeah. Because the case, when I started reading it, I found that this Air Force squadron leader was killed on the road and so on and so forth. And the fellow, this wife had been denied some family pension or something, so much so that she had reached a starving point. And her children had been thrown out of the schools. So I called this Government of India lawyer.
Ji.
There was one Bhatt, Government of India lawyer.
CGSC.
Yeah, I told him, Mr. Bhatt, you contact your ministry, Defense Ministry, and ask them that this man has died for the country, for the nation. How come you are making a star of this lady? So I said, you get your reply and instructions. Give her something. If your law prohibits it somewhere or prevents you from doing, find a way of helping her.
जी.
Who else is otherwise going to die for the country? This I am saying in the court. Now he said, sir, by tomorrow I said, file the reply tomorrow. Because for 4 years this case
Nothing had happened.
Nothing. It had gone from one bench to other, one bench to another, tariq pe tariq, tariq pe tariq, tariq. No action. At initial stage, 4 years.
जी.
Then the next day he came, he said, I am sorry, sir, my ministry is not agreeing to anything because they say that under rule, maybe I still remember some 22 damn thing, some rule of the Army Act says that it must be military service, and military service means in war.
जी.
I said, I am giving you one more chance. Please ask your that have some human heart.
जी.
The children are thrown on the road. She has nothing to live on. Give one more day.
जी.
So next day he came. He said, sorry, sir. We are helpless. We
Still
can't
nothing.
We can't do anything. So what happened was that I said, okay, you can't do anything.
जी.
I dictated the judgment in the court.
जी.
Dictated the judgment in the court, and it was both full of emotion and full of humanitarian angle.
जी.
That how can anybody die for this country when this is the condition? And when this is the condition, so on and so forth. And I said, the ministry is taking the defense of some army
legal provisions,
act, army
military
act,
law.
some military law and whatever. I am reading down that provision, and in disregard of that provision, I am directing all authorities from president down to the competent authority to release her within this date, so that she is able to rehabilitate her life and
Survive.
Rendered the judgment in the open court. I forgot about it. I knew that because there will be number of bureaucratic judges sitting above me who will not allow you to run at all. They will find that no, there is a provision. How can he say so? But fortunately, it went from High Court Division bench, High Court Division, because my judgment was more modeled on the humanitarian angle. It came up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court dismissed it, upholding my judgment all through. I know nothing about it. What I know is, one day I was sitting in my residence at Jammu on Eid festival.
जी.
And Jammu, we have a tradition, a custom, people coming and greeting you and Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak. So lots of people, lawyers, judges, they had come to greet, and they were all sitting in my sitting room. One lady came on the door.
जी.
She tried to force her way in.
जी.
Now the security guards stopped her. Said, you can't go in. You go the other side where ladies are sitting. She said, no, I have to go this way only. And she forced her way and reached, I was sitting here. So she said, Judge Sahab, you don't know me? I said, I don't know you. Other judges, they were there, what can I say? No, she said, I am the wife of so-and-so squadron leader.
Then you perhaps struck
I
you.
said, what happened? He said, you have given me a life which no president, no prime minister, no commander-in-chief gave me. They destroyed my family and you restored me to this life. I am so thankful to you. I came only for that.
Remarkable. Yes.
So
It
that
gives
was-
a big satisfaction and happiness.
This I was telling you on Badshah Khan story.
Okay.
Now this was my style of functioning, that I would not go by the technicality of law. I would always go what the ends of justice according
Required.
to my perception
In
demand.
those circumstances.
And I would override those technicalities of law. My two favorite observations used to be, Okay, you don't agree with this? 2 furlongs away there is a Supreme Court. Please go there.
Okay.
Open court, I would say. Any senior lawyer, please go there. But this is my judgment, and this is my judgment on spot. Now, second thing was that I was not going by any formalities. You give this and you give that and wait for years and years, then what will come and what will not come. No. Here, what's your problem? My problem is this. What are you saying against this? Sir, we say this, it is not a military service. But this is the only thing. Okay, done. Give it there. I consider it to be military service, good or bad. Give the relief or deny the relief, whatever would be the case, on the spot.
Wonderful.
Third, which was different in my style of functioning, was that I would break the monotony in the court proceeding by going on a lighter moment, cracking some kind of a joke or this thing, that thing.
Yes.
2 purposes. 1,
To break the tension.
to relieve the monotony.
Ji.
2, to encourage a lawyer whom I would find he is in panic just now. While arguing, he is going in panic. So I would just flirt with him. Crack a joke here and there, make others to laugh on that, then get serious again. Now, one day what happened was what I was told, this Badshah Khan theory. Bhai, what is this Badshah Khan problem?
आपने कहा?
I started asking lawyers. There was one secretary of High Court Bar Association. He said, sir, one day it so happened that a lawyer was in your court and out of nothing he got relief or something. He came down in the bar room is where these lawyers sit and gossip. No, he came and announced, क्या बादशाह है? कहा कौन बादशाह है? कहा वहाँ जो बैठा है? कहा अच्छा खान आया। तो ये बादशाह खान, इसने कहा बादशाह खान.
Okay. So that is
what I am told. I don't know otherwise it. Now this caught up somehow in the whole legal fraternity. So much so this Soli Surabji would call me Badshah Khan. Most of the top lawyers would call me Badshah Khan. Still people call me Badshah Khan in the legal fraternity. But to tell you honestly, I don't know exactly its origin and where it from started, except for this which was told to me.
एक अगला सवाल इसी से जुड़ा मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ आपसे कि पहले आपने एक वीडियो में बयान किया, कहा कि प्रोफेसर माधव मेनन के बारे में और उनकी जो जुडिशियल एकेडमी जब वो पहले डायरेक्टर थे जो भोपाल में बनी, तो उसका क्या, व्हाट इज द स्टोरी लाइक?
Madhav Menon was rated as a good top law teacher.
जी.
But our Judicial Academy was not a law college.
It was not a law college.
I somehow happened to be the member of the governing executive committee of the Bhopal National Judicial Academy.
जी.
Chief Justice of India nominated me as a member. Two people were only there, one Chief Justice of India, one was me, second. Number 2, when I was in Madhya Pradesh, I was looking after its construction. I was in charge of Bhopal portfolio. So that you see that beautiful building and all that surrounding.
Yes.
That I was supervising. These 2 connections I had. But one day...
You found that the approach was...
No. I was going to that because I had this attachment of being in charge of its construction at a later stage. 2, I was in the executive committee which decides the fund thing, budget thing and all that stuff. No, I was watching it and finding it, this is a law college being run here. I would find that some lawyer would come or some resource person so-called, some bureaucrat would come and give a lecture to these judges of the high courts who were being invited to undergo a course, a refresher course or something. One day I visited their surprise visit, so to say.
Unannounced.
In my capacity as a member of the executive committee, governing body. I found one of my lawyers in Delhi who used to be shaking before me, lecturing 45 judges of the high courts from different high courts. Lecturing what? He is giving them the definitions of patent, trademark, and this. He was a lawyer in intellectual property, supposed to be. I felt very, very frustrated. Now, Madhya Menon is sitting there. I am sitting there watching this proceeding, and he is explaining them. Patent is defined like this, trademark is defined like this. Now, in the heart of hearts, I am thinking, if we 45 judges of the high courts, we are teaching what? What is the definition of patent? This bloody thing can be read by him at home.
Yes.
Now I am thinking to stand up and tell this lawyer, you stop. What are you doing? Yeah, tell Madhya Menon, what are you doing this? Fortunately, Justice Lodha, who later became the Chief Justice of India, he was that time in Bombay High Court. He got up and said, "Sir, I want to point out one thing. Why have you asked us to come here, 45 judges of the high courts to come here for what? For listening to the definition of patent? We could as well do that at our home. What is this going on there, sir?" So I felt satisfied. I said, somebody at least pointed it out. Now that session ended and I told Madhya Menon, I said, look here, what we are doing here is just a duplication of
and perhaps something trivial.
Duplication of what is happening in a Meerut Law College or what is happening elsewhere. This was conceived by us to be an institution in which judges from other countries would come and acquire certain skills of judging, not definitions of some laws. Now, what skills we are imparting here in this? This place has become a holiday resort because you will find that every high court would nominate a faltu judge, faltu district judge who would not work there. You would be told, "Acha, you send him to Bhopal." Now they would come along with the families and they would have a nice gala time there in Bhopal. I said, it is becoming a holiday resort. Do you ask this fellow who has come, for example, from my state, a district judge or a civil judge or whatever, do you ask him what you acquired here and how are you implementing it there back in your court? No, nothing like that. Then I introduced a feedback system there. That all those judges who are invited here for some kind of a refresher course, it must be because they are coming on the state expense. So therefore, it must be made mandatory for them to submit a report to their high courts and to the judicial committee, what they have learned there or unlearned here, and how they are implementing, how useful it is for their judicial functioning. Was introduced that time. I don't know.
I think that was something very sensible.
Plus, for example, which was our vision that this Judicial Academy will go into research and this Judicial Academy will have data collections on, for example, on our pendency in our courts, how to deal with these and all that, and conduct some kind of a research, give us the ways out and so on and so forth. Or how a judge, for example, I consider a judge whose judicial approach is sound, I consider him far, far better than what he knows about some provisions of Act. Provisions of Act. If he has no approach, what will the provisions of Act or provision of law will do? It makes no sense. It doesn't yield to any justice at all. So instead of teaching them skills of judicial approach, judicial attitude, judicial this, standards of integrity, standards of honesty, standards of... Instead of that, you are giving them definitions of patent, trademark, and this. So much so, even Supreme Court judges were invited there, called there twice.
Ji.
And you know who they were lectured by? By DGP of our Delhi. Lectured on what?
Ji.
Now, this was the state. And third of all the things, that Judicial Academy is a white elephant which has not been fed at any stage. There is no fund, there is no budget, there is nothing, there is no supervision, there is nobody to look after what they are doing there. It is a
white elephant.
It is a vital elephant in which 2, 3, 4 people are sitting there for the whole year, and out of those, 4 or 5 people are those unemployed people who could not get jobs anywhere as law lecturers or law professors. They do their on ad hoc basis.
Ji.
And their working is confined only to the sessions or days, as you may call,
Ji.
when they, for sake of, I will call it a formality to be honest,
Ji.
once a year or twice a year you call High Court judges or District Court judges for some kind of a refresher course. And what is that refresher course? That is lecturing by these people, as these DGPs or some authorities, some revenue people or some this thing and that thing. In short, our vision of that National Judicial Academy was not fulfilled. It is still not fulfilled. It is, to my mind,
Yes.
it is rendering no judicial training.
It has not been
Of
fruitful.
any worthwhile judicial training, it's not rendering. And it's a duplication because every High Court has a Judicial Academy.
Quite right.
What my Judicial Academy in my High Court does, I think that does better than what this does 2 or 3 times in a year.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was my interaction with Mr. Madhav Menon. Peace be to his soul.
Right.
He was the director.
This is, I'm sure that this
Then he
video
became
would
a
be
committee
led
on
by
criminal law. He became a committee.
Ji. On the criminal law. Yes, with Justice Verma, I think, yes. Right. Stay with us. This conversation will continue.